and good evening. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA newsletter market update for Monday, the 24th of February. The real story today was not in the crypto markets, it was in the equity markets as they dropped what would be a normal day for Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. You can see that the equity markets dropped 3%. But when you're talking about a $30 trillion valuation instrument, maybe that's even on the conservative side, there's a whole lot of money that changed hands today based on this big gap. This is all due to the coronavirus, things like that. This was the initial reaction from the coronavirus, which was back here, but it continued today. So I don't know whether or not we're going to end up printing some type of a head and shoulder pattern here. If we do rally immediately from here with the presumption that this is going to be one more dip to be bought, then I think that this does increase the probability that we're going to see some type of ultimate reaction. Although these days it's you don't find that many head and shoulders patterns working out to the downside. But the projection for this would be somewhere down in this area here, which would be almost retesting the breakout that we had back in October. So we'll see what happens from that. But so that is the big news for the day. But the not as big news was basically crypto held up really pretty well, considering. Now, a lot of people come at this from the perspective of, well, it should, because crypto is, after all, thought of as a hedge against the larger financial system. And that is true from a fundamental perspective, but there's also just the issue of cash. Because what happens is if you have a market that's doing this sort of thing, and this is not just the S&P 500 alone. I mean, I haven't looked at Tesla today. Let's look at that. Oop, yeah, it's down. And we also have, typical players like Amazon is down big. And I'm sure we could go across the board. The problem is that everybody is so leveraged that when it gaps down like this, they get a margin call during the day from their brokers saying, either you put cash into your account right this second, or we're going to shut you down. And it really can be that bad because people are not used to playing on these gaps. They're not expecting these types of gaps. So that's kind of the blessing and the curse behind the cryptocurrency market, which never sleeps, is always trading, versus the equity markets that, quite honestly, really does shut down over the weekend. You cannot trade over the weekend. And after hours trading is somewhat difficult to do. Can be done, but is somewhat difficult. So what happens is people raise cash by any means possible, and that means selling the assets that they don't really want to sell, but they have to sell. And many times that includes crypto. So this is why we had a little bit of distribution today. There's no doubt that some cash was being raised out there on margin calls and redemptions. But overall, I mean, this is still especially the top 10 here, still looks really good as I went into this weekend. Nothing looks all that awful. So some of these look worse than others do, certainly. Even Chainlink got hit today. Let's see what Tezos is doing. Yeah, Tezos, just about everything. There is no, except for Algo. That was about the only safe harbor in today's market. So just about everything did get hit. Some worse than others. Like Tezos actually was hit harder than most. So that's the deal. That's why we're seeing some selling out there today. It's due to margin calls and redemptions. So don't forget that ever. If there is a big crash, everything gets hit. Every asset gets hit because while the market's going up, cash is trash. But cash is the ultimate safe harbor when markets start getting hit really hard to the downside. You got to raise cash. Otherwise, your margin account is wiped out. Guys, that's it for today's report. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.